Welcome back to Pull Up with Miles and Owen. This is episode 64, and I cannot express how excited I am for this conversation we're about to dive into. Today, we welcome somebody with many rings, a two-time WNBA champion, defending WNBL champion with the Bendigo Spirit and league MVP, and currently a member of the Phoenix Mercury. Sami Whitcomb, welcome to the pod.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. You're just coming from practice here. We hope that we didn't cut your shooting routine short. And did you get up enough shots?
Yeah, I like to do stuff before practice usually anyway, so this was totally fine. Totally well within what I would normally do.
We saw earlier this year the technology that the Mercury have where they track the shots that you've gotten up. It was at 10K when this was posted and it went a little viral. What's the numbers looking like now?
Yeah, we're above 17K currently, so we'll see what we get to at the end of the year. Yeah, the NOAA system's cool. We love it.
What's your shooting routine like before practice? Like, do you have a certain number you like to hit from each spot, or like what's the
I mean, sometimes it just depends on the day. It depends if it's like a day before a game and between stuff, like where are we at kind of in the schedule of the week. I'll definitely shoot, but some of that will vary based on, just kind of what the load of that week looks like. So normally it's kind of about feel more than probably like a certain number at this stage.
we want to go back in time a little bit, but first I have to ask like a technical basketball question, which I'm sure you've been asked a billion times. But your shooting form, like the release is just ridiculous. And I don't understand how you develop a shooting form that's that effective. Like what was the way that you came to shoot like this that it just feels unblockable? It's like you can just get it off in an instant.
I mean, it wasn't always that way. I would say, I came to college and I wasn't really like a shooter yet, and that was sort of problematic being like a two guard. So it's something I really worked on. And then I think by the time I had graduated UW, I was like a shooter. So when I went overseas, that became, like once you're labeled a shooter, that's obviously what people are trying to take away, right? So then it's like, well, how can you refine it, get to it quicker, get to it faster, like make sure, yeah, like you said, you can always get it off, you're always shot ready. Like, so then it just became about footwork and how quickly could I get my feet set? How quickly could I release the ball? So you're doing a lot of things uncomfortably for a long time, trying to get it to a place where it is comfortable. So yeah, I mean, I was literally like, I would practice like, how can I just get it off as fast as I can? But then obviously you want it to go in, like you don't want to just throw the ball at the rim. So it's sort of this back and forth bouncing act of like what's really fast, maybe a little bit uncomfortable, and then you sort of bring it back. And yeah, so it's not something that I don't have an exact science. It was just like in the gym, practicing it, trying it, like trying to use my shot and just make it a little bit quicker, a little bit faster, all those things.
17,000 plus times over the last 3 or 4 months in that one gym.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
When we had you here in New York for a couple of seasons, you were making that adjustment to also being a new mom at that time. And I remember we spoke about it, but also that you've talked about finding that balance between not being in the gym all the time because you wanted to be home with Kate and Nash and now Reef also.
Yeah.
And I read a quote about when you first got to Seattle that they had to at one point kick you out of the gym because you just wanted to keep shooting. So how was that adjustment for you to just find that balance between basketball and between motherhood too?
Yeah, I mean, no, it's definitely been, that's in my DNA. I think that's always been the player that I've been. It's part of what has got me, to the WNBA. So it's tough because I need that. I feel like I do need those reps. But obviously, yeah, for me, the greatest gift, professionally and, in my personal life has been the boys. It makes, my job, like I view it differently. I have a different perspective. The joy, of, just seeing like my kids watch me and their perspective of it really brings back that like that initial sort of kid love that you have when you start playing. And yeah, when I go home, I can really switch off now when I'm with, Kate and the boys. Whereas before I go home, you're just still you're thinking about the misses, the mistakes, whatever. And that was really draining, quite honestly. So I still get in the gym. I still sometimes have to get kicked out. But for the most part, I'm better and more efficient with my time. I'm very much more like work smarter, not harder. And it's about the quality of the reps versus the reps and all of that. But definitely when I'm home, I would say the biggest adjustment and the biggest change is like when I'm home, like I'm not thinking about basketball. I'm locked in with the boys and with Kate, it's really nice.
Did you and Kate have to, before the boys, have to like find that balance for just the two of you and just finding, because you're both athletes, and just when you can leave everything on the court, or also just knowing when you need to be supportive as a partner and say, okay, it was a tough shooting day, a tough game, and also have that as well
Yeah.
as when to
Yeah.
shut
I
it down.
mean, yeah, it helps being with someone that gets it in terms of like she was an elite athlete as well. She played, she understood the sacrifices, she understood the level of commitment it takes. Like she understood all of that. But she also, I think like her sort of more laid back take on it, her more easygoing, like it is just a game. Like you get to go and do it again tomorrow. Like you get another opportunity. Like this one's over, you can't change it. Like let's enjoy like whatever we're gonna do next. Like that really helps me because I was just like a wet blanket sometimes after a loss or whatever. Like I really would just be in my feelings, and no one wants to be like with someone that's such an emotional roller coaster, right? Like that's really hard for the partner as well. She knew when to support me. She knew when there were certain instances of like, yeah, that was a tough one. But she also knew when to kind of just give me perspective and just say like, it's a game, move on, like you're back at it tomorrow kind of thing. You can't sort of ride like that roller coaster of emotions all year. Like that's draining too, you know?
Yeah, I've also said like, and I've said this to Owen before, that I've become a better sports fan since I started covering the W, because I would see you guys as professional athletes like go through a devastating loss and then have to talk to us immediately afterwards. And I'm like, I can't be in a bad mood about like the Yankees blowing a baseball game in June if you guys have actual stakes and not just the fandom that goes with it. So I've become a better fan by just seeing how you were able to compartmentalize and go on to the next. And that's been a very something I probably should have learned before I was 36 years old, but it's been helpful for the last few years of my life at least. And
Yeah, and it's a skill, honestly. The compartmentalizing, it's a skill you learn, I think, the longer you're, you know, you are a professional because it just it sort of is like it helps you. It really is a defense mechanism, honestly.
For sure. I wanted to talk to you a little bit all the way back to the beginning of your pro career, because you've got such a fascinating story. You go undrafted, you get that training camp invite from the sky, but ultimately don't make that team. And then there are 7 years between that and your next shot at the W. You've played all over the world in that time. Looking back at it now as an 8 year W vet, what along that journey shaped you both within your basketball life and outside of it too?
I mean, honestly, it started with like not even just getting cut from Chicago, which was I think really important, honestly, like getting that training camp contract, getting to see like like what it took, like the level of play, you know, because I got cut and knew I didn't deserve to make that roster, which was good, but it was like it wasn't just your cut. It was like I got the experience and the feel of like, oh, these women are strong, they're smart. Like that window of opportunity to make a decision is so much quicker and smaller. Like so it was very important, I think, that not only did I just not make a team, but that I got to like get that feel and stuff. First, I made it the whole camp before getting cut. So that was huge because I got to take away all of those lessons and work on them for 7 years. But I think one of the first real like big moments for me as well was I didn't get an overseas job that summer. After I got cut, my agent couldn't find anything for me. So I actually had to, I took a video coordinator job at UW at my college, and I had to like play in women's leagues, men's leagues. I was playing noon hoops, like just do all of it on my own. And really like that was the first moment of like, how badly do I want this? And that has very much like, that has been I don't know, whatever you want to call it, the compass for like my whole journey, the whole way through. Like anytime I kind of reach a point of like, oh, this is tough, or, you know, another no, or another like, you know, you're not good enough. Like all those moments, I'm always just, I come back to that question of like, how badly do I want it? And I remember I kind of always go back to that moment of like, you know, I had a good kind of comfy video job that was going to probably lead to, you know, like maybe a lower level assistant and just kind of go that ladder. Or like I finally got that next year after doing that, I got this, you know, very small contract playing in Germany, which is very low level. And it was like, well, do I do this, you know? And so I quit the video job and I went overseas and started that. But like that whole year of just really figuring out like I'm not ready to be done with basketball and I'm willing to kind of do whatever it takes to just get a contract was really important, I think, to like kind of launch my overseas career.
And that was the German team that ended up folding, right? Towards the end of that
No, so my
season, or was that?
first year I played in Chemnitz and
Okay.
we didn't fold, but we weren't very good. But like we played the whole year. And then my next year I played for Wolfenbüttel and we were better. We were like top in the league the whole season and then went bankrupt. And then that's when, because I was traveling, I could go and play in Australia. Like I was in like Austria and my agent got a message saying, hey, like our import just backed out. Would Sami be willing to come to Australia and play in like a semi-professional league? But like it was in Australia, I could keep playing. And I remember I was just like, book the flight, tell them I'm coming, like I'll get on that plane kind of thing. Cause I really wanted to go. And that was like, I mean, that changed the whole trajectory of my life. You know, like if I don't go to Australia and take that small sort of semi-professional contract, you know, who knows if I end up going back there, but probably not, honestly, because it just never worked out with the timing of my Euro contracts. So yeah, like I don't meet Kate. I don't fall in love with Australia as well and Australian basketball. I don't see the WNBL and decide that's what I want to play in. Like that was such a big moment in my whole career. So yeah, it's so funny to look at like these small things that you think aren't that big of a deal, but you know, end up changing your whole life.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I also love when this happens. The next note in our little Google Doc says video coordinator at UW, and you just perfectly went right into the transition for us.
Oh, sorry.
No, I know the opposite of sorry. I love it. One of our media friends, Nikias Duncan, always asks players like how you've grown as a film watcher over the course of your career. So I was curious, going back to having that position, like how did that change your outlook, kind of not being on the court and in the action 5-on-5 in terms of your understanding of the game and maybe like vocality within once you went back to playing the game?
Yeah, I mean, it really does. It's hard to watch that much film. And honestly, some of it's not even watching it. Like so much of it is like editing and stuff as well as the video coordinator. But it was being in the conversations of like what they wanted to see, what they wanted broken down, and then seeing that stuff edited and broken down and slowed down and like the reads that, you know, people are making and not seeing like the actions that they want, that it just changed the way you sort of look at the game, particularly as a guard, you know, someone that's in positions to make reads a lot, whether it's coming out of pick and rolls or, you know, even the spacing on the floor and the backside and stuff. I think it just, you appreciate timing, you appreciate spacing, you appreciate like all of that stuff a little bit more. And to your point, like, it's not always watching the film. Like I think the way I grew the most was my 4 years playing with Sue and watching Sue and then watching how she watches the game and how she watches film and how she would talk about it. Like, I think when you can learn from someone like live that way as well, it's even better than like watching film after the fact. Like so much of the way that I look at stuff and do stuff now is purely just what like she would say she was doing or what I saw her doing. Just like I just tried to grab as much as I could from her because she was always, you know, 3 steps ahead, 4 steps, whatever it was, 2 steps ahead. And you could just, the way she saw the game was crazy. So that has helped me, I think, really slow down in my later years and just like let it unfold, like knowing what you're looking for and stuff.
I love that. And it's the transition also from being, you know, the rookie that's on those teams to then being in a leadership role. And we've seen it in your game as you grow as a facilitator because everyone is forced to close out to you as quickly as possible. And then you've got every defense tilted that you're going against. But I wanted to bring up a quote that I had found years ago when I was writing a piece about you, and I wanted to circle back. And I don't know if I ever talked to you about it, but it was about when you went back to visit your high school after being in Seattle for a couple of years, and your coach there, Dave Gunther, said that you'd gone through so much rejection, but you weren't going to quit on your dream. And said, I thought it was important for our players to hear. Some people may think scholarships fall out of trees, but Sami has never stopped working and just has that as a legacy on the other end of when you didn't know where your next contract was going to come from, when you didn't know, I think with the Liberty was the first guarantee deal you had in the W. How much does it mean to you to have now become a role model to players that can know that there's not just one path that they have to take, especially as the league and women's basketball continues to grow?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that I'm most proud of, honestly, that you know, you look at the league and it's really easy to look at and admire, you know, the Asias and like the Stewies and all of those, you know, just big name players that are just amazing at what they do. And it's fine to strive to want to be that. Like I still want to be, you know, like those are my idols. So I idolized Diana growing up, you know, like that's who I wanted to be. I'm not her, but like it's amazing to strive to be that, right? But I also think it's really cool now that like maybe someone will look at me And, they'll see themselves in that, someone that maybe isn't, um, a highly touted recruit coming out of high school, even a big name coming out of college. But like, yeah, you can still be in the WNBA and you can be in the WNBA for a long time and you can have impact on teams and you can be a really like a superstar in your role. And that's all I've ever wanted to be. And it's not to say again that you can't do more than what your role is. AC had a quote, I think when she was at Vegas and they won the championship. And, she was on the bench, I think, for a lot of it, but then like her and Kayla George had to start like in those last games because of so many injuries. And I remember she said something to the effect of like, just because your role is something doesn't mean that's all you're capable of, right? Just means that is your role on that team. And she was going to be the best in that role. But when they asked more of her because an opportunity came up and they needed more of her, she could do it. She was capable of more. So I think that's where like, I hope to be inspirational to people in that, like, yeah, there's no blueprint, there's no right or wrong. It's like, if you love it, keep pursuing it. And yeah, I just think that there's so many ways to be successful in this sport. There's so many ways to have an incredible career.
We got to talk about the Mercury because Myles can attest to this. Olivia can attest to this. The Mercury have been my favorite team to watch this year, hands down.
Okay.
The vibes are off the charts. One thing I've really loved is the team pictures you guys will take after.
Yeah.
How did that start? And can you just speak to what maybe that says about just the vibes on this club?
I don't know if this is what started it, but I'm going to claim it. So they were doing like they were taking like photos of the starting group every time on the bench. And I was in the starting lineup a little bit early on because of injuries. And every time I couldn't, there were too many cameras. I never looked at the right camera. So like everyone else would look cute and I'd be like, or like smiling at the wrong camera. And I was so mad that I couldn't get it right. And then next game, I didn't start. And the photo they posted, everyone's looking at the camera. It's so cute. It looks so good. And everyone was posting it. No one posted the other ones because I looked like an idiot. So I was so mad. I was like, no way. Like, so I was being really petty. So then like the next game or whatever, it was like, get everybody in. We're all taking a photo together. Like I need a good group shot. So like it has turned into a really cool vibe, but I'm like, oh, it kind of came out of me being vain and petty because I didn't get like a good photo when I was in the starting crew.
That's
I'm not
wonderful.
sure if that's the exact, I don't know. I feel like that's what it was. We were like, well, Sammy needs a good photo. Let's like look after her because she looked like crap in all the photos. And then, yeah, every game, it was like everybody really, like, we loved it. Everybody wanted to do it. We wanted these cute game photos together. We really look forward to them now. Yeah, so it's turned into a really cool thing. And that's the group. That's the energy of the group. Like, we poke fun at each other. We make fun of each other. Everyone was, like, laughing that I couldn't get a good photo. But then, like, everybody wants to take a good photo, like, so that I get my, like, moment.
I love it. That's a great tradition. I wanted to bring up one of my favorite stats about this Mercury team, which is as of this recording, in just 26 games, Alyssa Thomas has now tied the all-time record in assisted threes with 121.
Yeah.
Courtney Vandersloot set that record 2 years ago with the Liberty in 39 games. So she's done it in two-thirds of those games. And Sammy, you've been the top beneficiary of those dimes. AT has set you up a league high 29 times.
Yeah.
You played with great passers, as you alluded to Sue already. You've played with high gravity players. What makes Alyssa Thomas so unique and such a terrific distributor?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot that goes into it. One, it's her IQ. I think she has such a great feel for the game, feel for reading defenses, feel for knowing where the open person is and all of that. And obviously an incredibly willing passer. Like she wants to make that pass. She wants to find the open person, make the right play. And then it's her gravity and how dynamic she is downhill, like getting to the rim. So you think like, oh, you just like give her space because she might not shoot it, but she obviously is capable of knocking it down, but you don't. And she is a bull going at you to the rim. No one's trying to take a charge. So it's like if you give her that sort of option, she's getting to the rim. So then everyone's collapsing, right? Because you don't want to give her that. And then she's just picking her poison. And like I said, she's just such a smart player. And I feel like we've been able to develop a bit of a chemistry with that. I feel like I know where she needs me to be in order for her to make that pass. And honestly, like, I mean, I feel like that number should be way. She's given me so many good looks that I have missed as well. So like, it's nice to know that I am making some of them because my goodness, I feel like I've blown a lot for her. That number should be higher. She gets us really open looks.
There's so many fun wrinkles to your guys' offense, but one thing I wanted to isolate because I feel like people talk about pick and roll chemistry all the time, but DHO chemistry is interesting to me. Like there's so much in the dribble handoffs, based around AT as a hub and you as this amazing shooter and passer that I think is really fascinating. What goes into building DHO chemistry and like just what have you seen from all these looks that you've been able to generate from that this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like the timing. Like I said, I feel like we're very much on the same page. We sort of know like where each other is going to be or needs each other to be. So when we get in that action, I feel like, I know that once her person kind of commits to me, if they do, like she's going to be right in that little pocket in that window. She's not really getting all the way to the rim. She's not popping back. Like I feel like we just kind of know where each other is going to be. And then likewise, if I get a little bit more to the rim, we were having a bit of success, with that drop back pass as well. I knew she was kind of just following me to the rim. She knows when, if someone goes under, like I'm probably shooting it. So she sort of just positions her body. So I've got that time. But yeah, I think it's really just, we've just sort of built this chemistry and knowing what the person's going to do based on what the defense does. And that's just going to continue to grow, hopefully. Because obviously, you get thrown different looks. The more that we have success with that, it's just going to be, it's probably going to get harder, right? So it's like I need to make the right reads now and continue to kind of grow in that way as a facilitator.
Speaking of chemistry, it feels like you and Kalia Copper have had some amazing chemistry on this team. I was noticing it even when she was out the first portion of the season. It just felt like you guys were creating this bond. Ka's like my favorite player ever. And she was, I think, episode 54 of our pod, something like that. So I have to ask a Ka question, just like what you've gotten from being around her and how much you've enjoyed that experience.
Yeah. I mean, I love Ka. I think one of the greatest things I've gained from her is like when she was out and I had to play, a different role, like she was just in my ear constantly about being aggressive, shooting, like being myself, doing the things that, I would do in training and stuff, like just being that player. And I think when someone like Ka is in your ear saying that, like it's really hard to not feel confident, to not feel good about yourself. Make or miss, whatever it was, like she's like, shoot the ball, like hunt threes, shoot the ball. Like we need you doing those things, And so I think that's been really cool for me, like to experience that from someone as great as her. And she's just like a vibes energy player as well. And so I love feeding off that. I love feeding her, like to get her going in that way as well. Cause she's so tough. And when she's feeling good, like we're different. We're such a good team. So yeah, that's been a fun relationship for me as well. Like like I said, she's a dog and I love playing with her and being out there alongside her. But it was really special for me, when she was out, the way that she sort of helped me grow and feel good.
It was very noticeable, like when she was out, every team huddle after a win, it felt like she was so vocal, just like incredibly engaged. You can see players like obviously be bummed when they're out working back from an injury and kind of and she was just so like present in there, which was cool for me to see.
Yeah, no, she was very, very, very engaged, as you said. And I think just really like she knew how important it was for that group to get those reps and those minutes and to like be able to get those wins early when we were missing people. Like, and I know a lot of people didn't expect it, but it was huge how much she was just like going to be a coach, going to be our best teammate, still going to be our biggest supporter on the sideline. Like she wasn't bringing us down, because she wasn't out there. Like she was just pouring into us. And that was huge, huge.
Sam, we've only got a couple of minutes left, but I would be remiss if I did not ask you about the first pitch from a couple of weeks ago. I wanted to break down the form a little bit, but a source told me.
Yeah, listen, let me just tell you, I was crushing it in my practice once. I was so good. And I had this whole thing played out in my head. I was like, okay, I'm going to shake him off. I'm going to get up there and I'm going to be like, no. And then I'm going to be like, yeah. And then honestly, I'm going to point the blame. Like he didn't seem that into it. Like I wasn't vibing when I sort of shook him off. I felt like he was like, just throw the ball, So that sort of threw me off my game. I sort of lost a bit of my swag when that happened. And I was like, now I just got to throw the ball really quickly. But Miles, you know me. I was always gonna throw it as hard as I could.
Yep.
I was never gonna loft it like that. I was gonna throw that sucker. But I said to the girls that some of the girls came and I just literally all I said before was like, I just don't want it to, I don't want to bounce it and like throw it like, really wide. And sure enough, that's exactly what I did. So I walked off and I was like, guys, that was my nightmare. That was exactly what I didn't want to happen.
A source had told me you were warming up with Natasha Mack before you went out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So she was your bullpen catcher as you were just getting loose.
She was my catcher, and then they let us just like play catch in the outfield. It was so fun. It was so cool. So like those ones we were just throwing, but yeah, Mac was my catcher when I was like really kind of throwing the heat, giving them some strikes. They're pretty good. I was feeling really confident. And then I did that and I was like, wow, that was just, exactly what I could have hoped to have not happened. And the whole like there weren't that many people there, but everyone, right when I checked it, they were like, oh, so like the whole crowd was unimpressed.
That's
But,
tough. That's tough. We had Stewie threw out a first pitch earlier this year at Yankees Mets, and she was so adamant because she had done it when she was in Seattle earlier as like a
yeah.
rookie, I
Oh
think.
yeah.
And she was like, I have to go to the top of the mound. I have to be on the rubber and
They
just like,
wouldn't let
all these
me.
things. And they wouldn't let you? I was gonna ask.
No, I literally said, I was like, we can be on the mound, right? Because like that's like part of it. It's going down. And he was like, nah, we've already like it's ready for the game. Stand in front. And I go, can I stand behind it? And he was like, no. And I was like, I should have just gone and stood behind it. Would have been funnier, at
Yeah,
least
they
if I
weren't
threw
gonna
it.
tackle you off the off the
Yeah,
field.
I know. I should have just done it. But yeah, no, I didn't even get to stand. So it was like even more embarrassing because it's like I'm standing in the front, like, anyways, I let the group down. I let the group down with that one.
You'll have to run it
Set us,
back.
I set us back.
Final one before Myles gets us out of here. What's the key to good shot put? We know that you were kind of prolific too as a shot put thrower back in high school.
I've been wondering when someone was going to finally ask me about my shot put career. Yeah, honestly, I had zero skill. It was all just like pure will, pure, just like I'm trying to throw this as hard as I could, which honestly, again, it's just like that's very I feel like that's on brand for me. Like not a lot of skill, but I will that sucker. So
That's
yeah, I
insane.
just like
Yeah.
they showed me how, and I was like, look, if the point is to just throw it as far as I can, this is how I'm gonna do it. And I think my height helped me a little bit. I was, sort of strong, but yeah, I just pushed that sucker as hard as I could. And I think I won a couple of things every now and then, and sometimes I placed second. But yeah, it was fun times. I really liked the throwing group. And then one time they needed like an extra heat. Like there was a heat that only had one 4x4. So they needed us to create a 4x4 group just to like run against these people. And I was like, how hard could it be? And I asked my friend, I was like, what's the technique? Like, just like go as hard as I can for a lap. And he was like, yeah, just run as hard as you can. Obviously, if you know track and you know 4x4, that is not what you do. So I came out and was like killing it in front of everyone, like way ahead of the pack. And all my friends are sitting there thinking, like, oh, she's a fast runner. Oh my gosh, we never knew this. And then you hit that curve, you're approaching the 200, and I just died. The lactic acid got me. I went from first by a mile to like I nearly was like dragged across the finish line. It's the most embarrassing. Like you thought that baseball pitch was embarrassing? Oh no. That 4x4 was the most embarrassing thing of my life in terms of like sport. I'll never live that down.
I just had a softball tournament a few weeks ago, and it was like 100 degrees out. And it was one of those like you play 5 games in a day. And I
Yeah.
get a hit in the last game, and all of a sudden I round first, and I just start cramping in both legs at the same time. And I'm just like, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't
Yeah,
crawl
no.
back to first, couldn't get to
Yeah.
second. And I'm like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to anybody.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my
That's what
version
I
of it.
thought. Yeah. That was what I thought too. So funny.
Sammy, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah,
And
you're
I
welcome.
also just wanted to say, and I've said it to you before, but thank you for early in my career. You were one of the players that really made me feel comfortable. And in the Liberty locker room, it was you and Mick and Dee Dee were always the people I can go to and feel like, all right, I don't know what I'm doing here, but here are players that are going to see me as a human, as an anxious human who's
Yeah.
trying to like get into this space and make me feel safe. So I just wanted to take the opportunity again to say thank you for that. And for that, obviously, I'm always a fan of you forever, but so is my wife, and she says hi as well.
Oh, say hi. I love that. Yeah,
But
well, thank you.
I
It's a
mean, yeah,
pleasure.
you're
You've
the
always
best.
been so lovely to work with. And yeah, I've just always really respected the way you go about it. So thank you. That means a lot.
Thanks. And we will be talking to you all the time and probably seeing you in New York, hopefully at some
Oh, yeah.
point down the road.
Yeah, we come
Uh,
back soon.
and
I'll
we'll
look.
see you soon. Thanks, Sammy.
All right. See
Thank
you guys.
you.
Thank you so much.
Take
Bye.
care.